This is Meditation with Richard. I'm Richard Clarke. Welcome. This series focuses on mindfulness meditation. Listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. So, Richard, how was your meditation last week? And thank you for your keen observation.
Okay, it was really good. At points, it seems like the meditator disappears, and that's grace. And just realize that effort doesn't it doesn't matter. It's just the grace.
Yes, yes. And it's wonderful when the meditator just disappears. You didn't need them anyway.
That's right.
Very good. How about you, Barley?
Oh, I keep plugging away. Boy, last night, though, I was having such a hard time getting to sleep, but I was trying so hard to stop the thoughts. So I was using patient techniques. I finally went to sleep.
But it's hard to stop thoughts by trying to stop thoughts because, you're making an effort to stop you from making an effort. So it's kind of paradoxical.
Well, my idea was to breathe in and to breathe out.
Just redirect.
I was
Yes.
thinking that, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Did it help?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I always think it does help. But
Okay.
and then I have to be grateful to myself when it happens, right? That was what you had to do. To retrain your brain.
Yes. How about you, Doug?
Well, I've been thinking or pondering the phrase that was in one of the podcasts. It was why meditate on an object? Meditate on the meditator.
Yes.
So apparently Richard has gotten beyond that, beyond the meditator. I haven't, but actually I've had a good week of meditations, meditating on the meditator.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And, when you're able to do this, the meditation on the breath or any of the usual techniques is on some kind of object. And that means the meditation is at some level mental because the mind is what deals with the objects. And so what you're trying to do in that meditation is use attention to one object to calm your wandering mind down. When it tries to look at all these other objects, you return to the one and then you can go to sleep. When you are meditating on the meditator is not an object.
Right.
And that's a fundamental difference in the process. And
I think so, yes.
yes. And so this is what Richard was talking about. I started my practice in my early 20s looking at Buddhist teachings and trying to figure out how to meditate and looking at a candle and meditating on the candle and things like that. But I really didn't get very far for the next 25 years. And then I went to this same teacher that Richard went to know me in Santa Cruz and started to approach it very differently. And, I learned later that what I was doing was starting to do this kind of non-objective meditation. And so that's what I've done really for the last 30 years. I still combine it with the mindfulness because the mindfulness still works for me to quiet the mind. And for me, I have to have a quiet mind to start to meditate on the meditator, because if the mind is noisy, you just can't get there.
Yeah.
Very good. How about you, Carol?
It was good. We've been meditating regularly. I had a particularly good one afternoon after you read the magic book.
Uh-huh.
This book that we've been looking at for years and years. It's really amazing. It is sort of magic. The words just sort of get into you somehow, and it's really an interesting process. I don't know what's happening, but after that, and then we said 3 ohms, and the combination of those two really sent me deep. And it doesn't always happen, but it did happen once this week.
Uh-huh.
The rest of the time, just so it was all right.
Well, again, very good to have, multiple meditation sessions, and to have one in a week in which you feel like you're going deeper is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I hope you're doing what Burley talked about there, is noticing it after it was done and giving yourself a pat on the back. I say noticing it after it's done, because what I found is if I have some meditation that's real good and I go to myself, oh boy, that's good, I want more, then it goes away instantly at that time.
Well, of course, that's what happened after that one day. The next day, I hoped it would happen again, and it didn't. So
Anyway. So it continued. The thing is that ongoing practice continues to go deeper, and where you're going deeper from kind of depends on where you are in the process. And, I thought it was, interesting here that we had multiple stories today of people going deeper, and what that meant was different to each one who had that experience. So meditation is something you do for yourself, and it's something you know for yourself, and that's the heart of it. And because of that, the experience you're going to have depends on where you are in terms of the depth of your knowledge of yourself. Okay, so let us go to the meditation now. And mindfulness is present moment awareness, paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, fully receive whatever is experienced, then let it go. Now we will meditate, relax, look for joy in the moment. Let experiences and thoughts come, let them be, let them go. We'll enter into meditation using a gradual process. This uses both your focused attention, focus on the object of meditation, and your peripheral awareness, your awareness outside the focus. Peripheral awareness is also active. Nothing is excluded. And first, become present in this moment and focus on body sensations. Then, once you're fully present with every kind of sensory stimulus, limit your attention to body sensations. Let everything else slip into the background of peripheral awareness. Nothing should be suppressed from conscious awareness. As you quietly observe body sensations, your attention naturally moves to the movement of your breathing. Pay attention to breath-related sensations like the expansion and contraction of your chest. Without restricting peripheral attention, focus your attention to these breath-related sensations. And now, focus attention on the breath sensations at your nose, the feel of your breath, or in your belly. Find where it's clearest. Don't follow the breath, but keep attention here at this spot. This is your primary meditation object. Maintain peripheral awareness in the background. Nothing is excluded. All right. Now, today, I'm going to continue with the essential attributes of mindfulness. These were defined by Jon Kabat-Zinn and form a foundation for mindfulness. The old list of 7 were non-judging, patience, beginner's mind, trust, non-striving, acceptance, and letting go. And to these 7, he later did a revision and added 2 more: gratitude and generosity. I think Barley had a question last week about why some lists have 7 attitudes and some have 9. There was the original list and then later the revised one. I have discussed non-judging, patience, trust, beginner's mind, and non-striving. And this week is acceptance. Now, what is the mindful attitude of acceptance? This means seeing things as they actually are in the present moment. The attitude of acceptance can be defined as accepting things as they are in the present moment without judgment. It is an essential core element of mindfulness. The fundamental idea behind acceptance is things are okay just as they are. If you want something to change, then you have not accepted it as it is. You want something different. Acceptance is important in healing. Avoiding uncomfortable emotions is understandable, but judging our experience, distracting ourselves, or suppressing our feelings doesn't help us heal. To heal, we must feel and validate the weight of our experience. We need to experience it fully so we can come to terms and begin moving forward mentally, emotionally, and physically. Sooner or later, we have to come to terms with things as they are and accept them, whether it is something like a diagnosis of cancer or learning of someone's death, someone you care about. Sometimes acceptance is only reached after we've gone through emotion-filled periods of denial and anger. These stages are a natural progression in the process of coming to terms of what is. They're all part of the healing process. However, putting aside the major calamities that usually take a great deal of time to heal, in the course of our daily lives, often we waste energy denying and resisting what is already a fact. When we do this, we're basically trying to force situations to be the way we'd like them to be, which only makes for more tension. This actually prevents positive change from occurring. We may be so busy denying and forcing and struggling that we have little energy left for healing and growing. and this little energy we have may be dissipated by our lack of awareness and inability to focus on what is most important for us. Acceptance is the cornerstone of change. Before you can change something, you must see and accept it for what it is. It's the necessary precursor to understanding, planning, and taking mindful action towards our desired goal. Acceptance is supported by the mindful attitude of trust. If you are full of fear, acceptance is hard. If you trust, acceptance is easy. Now, one of the most important elements of acceptance is self-acceptance. Acceptance requires that we see our experiences clearly and also let whatever we see be what it is without pushing it away or trying to change it. Notice this is not the same as judging our experiences as good or bad. Accepting something means we see what it is. It's not the same as approval. If you feel bad about your body or choices that you've made, and you don't want to remain stuck in a frustrating vicious cycle, you might realize that it's all right to love yourself as you are. Now is the only time you can love yourself. Remember, now is the only time you have for anything. You have to accept yourself as you are now before you can really change. By intentionally cultivating acceptance, you're creating the preconditions for healing and for growth. Now, many people worry that acceptance means giving up or letting go of our goals, but acceptance is not a passive act of resignation. It's the fundamental first step to change and growth. When we don't accept the world as it is, we often create tension in ourselves, our relationships, even in our activities, by trying to force situations to be how we want them to be instead of how they are. Acceptance does not mean that you have to like everything or abandon your principles and values. It does not mean that you are satisfied with things as they are or that you are resigned to tolerating things as they have to be. It doesn't mean that you should stop trying to break free of your own self-destructive habits or give up on your desire to change and grow, or that you should tolerate injustice or avoid getting involved in the changing world. Acceptance isn't about avoiding growth or resigning ourselves to the thought that things won't change. On the contrary, it allows us to see and accept what is so we can take appropriate and effective actions to meet reality where it is and carve our path forward from there. Acceptance simply means that you've come around to a willingness to see things as they are. This attitude sets the stage for acting appropriately in your life, no matter what is happening. You're much more likely to know what to do when you have a clear picture of what is actually happening. Here's a quick list of what acceptance is not: giving up on goals or letting go of dreams, liking everything that happens, abandoning your values and principles, remaining silent in the face of injustice, letting go of trying to change negative habits, resigning yourself to things remaining as they are. Now, in our meditation practice, we cultivate acceptance by taking each moment as it comes and being fully with it as it is. We try not to impose our ideas about what we should be thinking or feeling or seeing in our experiences. Acceptance reminds us to be receptive, open to whatever we are feeling, thinking, or sensing, to use the mindful attitude of acceptance to accept whatever it is, because it is here right now. If we keep our attention focused on the present, we can be sure that whatever we are paying attention to at this moment will change. This gives us the opportunity to practice letting go and then accepting whatever it is that will emerge in the next moment. Clearly, there is wisdom in cultivating acceptance. There is also peace of mind and happiness. And now we have a video from Jon Kabat-Zinn on acceptance.
Acceptance is a very active process. There's nothing passive about it. It's not passive resignation, but it's an active recognition that things are actually the way they are. Sometimes they're not the way we want them to be. So acceptance doesn't mean that we can't work to change the world or to change circumstances of one kind or another, but it means that unless we accept things as they are, we will try to force things to be as they are not, and that can create an enormous amount of difficulty. If we recognize the actuality of things, then we have the potential to apply wisdom in that situation to actually shift our own relationship to what is occurring in ways that might be profoundly healing and transformative. But without acceptance of one's situation, then it's very difficult to know where to stand. And without knowing where to stand, it's very difficult to take the first step. So some things are very hard to accept, like when something, when you experience pain, for instance, and you don't, in your body, and you don't know what it's from. It's very, very difficult to accept it, because we want to know what it's coming from. And if we don't have any answer for what is causing the pain, then it can be very, very difficult to accept it. But what we find working with chronic pain patients is that before you can actually work with pain and suffering, you need to actually put out the welcome mat for it and accept it as it is, because whatever has been done medically that could be done has been done, and you're still living with a certain degree of pain. What our people with chronic pain who come to our clinic experience is that there's a lot of different ways to actually work with pain, but the first step is to actually put out the welcome mat for it, which is very hard to do when you're suffering, but it's actually a gateway into freedom from suffering. So that's one of the most powerful ways in which acceptance can be brought to bear on healing and transforming one's life, and is a very, very powerful factor and is a very, very powerful attitude in the cultivation of mindfulness.
Now we will meditate again. And during this meditation, pay attention to the instant where your breath starts to change. Last time we did this at the start of the in-breath. Notice between each cycle from up to down and down to up, there's a small pause. This time in our meditation, after you have finished the in-breath, in each breath, feel the moment where the out-breath starts. And if you notice your mind starts to wander, then first give yourself credit and attaboy for noticing, and then just return to the breathing and notice where the out breath starts. All right. And let us close with our short chant. Om.
Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace,
Peace.
peace,
Peace.
peace. Well, any questions or discussions?
If there isn't acceptance, there's building a prison for yourself.
Yes.
And it brings to mind a quote from Tagore: "To find truth, you must welcome everything."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So wonderful that you bring this to us, Richard. Thank you.
Yes,
Well,
indeed.
again, I'm
almost
just
people-
glad to have found this Jon Kabat-Zinn guy to give us a guide.
Yeah, he's good. It's amazing how every session I can totally relate to. It's like something that's just happening in my life that I need
Mhm.
this
Oh,
right now.
very good.
Amazing.
Now, what I'm trying to do with the exercises in the second meditation is there is a book that I'm reading from a longtime meditator and brain scientist, and he has particular things that he's learned about meditation. And what I'm trying to do here is from one of the early stages where, to begin with, what you try to do is to be able to increase your focus so you have more time where you're focused and less time when your mind is wandering out. And these approaches of looking at your breath in a particular part of the cycle are a technique he shows to do this. As we go on, I will get you noticing not only where the breath starts to go up, but also at the end of its going out, and then in this tiny little moment where it pauses in between. And the idea is that having these things to do within the breath cycle gives your monkey mind something to do so it doesn't get distracted.
I was going to comment that was really helpful to me today. I've been doing the breath watching for a few years now, but at this point, if my mind wanders, it comes back on when I'm inhaling. I can feel it in my nostrils, but this time there was like a second thing to look for, and that was the breath going out. That was really helpful.
Yeah, my own experience doing that meditation is the time seems to pass faster.
Hmm.
And, I just think it's a sign that I'm more into the meditation and absorbed by it. And somehow this little trick is helping me also.
Helped me too. I had a really good meditation there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting how that little suggestion means a lot.
Yes. So anyway, this is also something else that over time I'll continue to bring into our sessions as I feel like we can move along. Right now, what I'm trying to do is to make sure we're solid at the base level.
I've been looking for that for 30 years, Richard, solid at the base level.
Well, that's right. Sometimes it's faster for somebody than others. You know, I'd say I've been looking for it since my early 20s. So it takes a while. Anyway,
You look for it till it finds you.
Yeah.
yes. Anyway, very good. Thank you for joining me, and namaste, and we'll see you next time.
Namaste.
Bye.
Thank you.